Hey guys, my name is Gabe, and I'm from drumbeatsonline.com. Today I'm going to teach you the core fundamentals that you need to know to learn how to play the drums. I'm going to start off by teaching you a couple of beats, and then I'm going to explain to you each purpose of each drum within the context of a song. So let's get started. The first beat that I'm going to teach you is in a time signature called 4/4. And all that means is that there's 4 beats in a measure. So what we're going to do is we're going to play quarter notes on the hi-hat. And a quarter note just means that you play a beat, you play every beat of the measure. So in this case, that's going to be 4. That's going to sound like this. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Simple enough. Next, we're going to add in the bass drum. We're going to play the bass drum on beats 1, 3, and the and of 3. That's going to sound like this. 1, 2, 3, and 4. 1, 2, 3, and 4. 1, 2, 3, and 4. And so on. Lastly, we're going to add the snare drum with our left hand. And we're going to hit the snare drum on beats 2 and 4. And altogether, that's going to sound like this. So the next beat I want to show you is essentially the same exact beat, but instead of playing quarter notes on the hi-hat, we're going to play eighth notes. And that means that we're going to hit the hi-hat 8 times in the context or in the length of one measure. So we're essentially just playing the hi-hat twice as many times. That's going to sound like this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Or you can count it like this. 1, 2, 3, 4. Or like this. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. However you would like to do it. But we're going to keep everything else the same. So, altogether, it's going to sound like this. So if you're having a hard time with this, don't get discouraged. Part of playing drums is having a really hard time learning a beat, but something that I like to do to help me get a little bit more comfortable is to separate things for a bit, whether that means just playing the hi-hat and the bass drum together and then maybe adding the snare drum in later, or maybe playing the hi-hat and the snare drum together and then adding the bass drum parts in at another time when I feel more comfortable. Whatever you do, do what's the most comfortable for yourself. And something that I really like about the drums is that I can play the same beat on a different drum or on a different cymbal, and it can sound like a totally different beat, or it can give a song much more energy. For example, I could play the beat that I was just playing on the floor tom, and it gives it kind of a different feel, like this. Or, instead of hitting the 2 and the 4 on the snare, I could hit it on the rack tom, and it would sound like this. And it gives it a very different feel. And if I'm playing on a chorus or something that's really high energy, I'd play that beat on a cymbal, like this. So those are a couple drum beats, and I hope that they help you out. Next, I want to go over the purpose of each drum behind a song, or just in the context of drumming itself. It's really important to know. So the way that I view my hi-hat, my crash cymbals, and my ride cymbal is almost like the metronome of a song. It's really what kind of keeps time and kind of keeps everybody together. So if my metronome is... I'm going to try to match that on my cymbal, or on my ride cymbal, or play eighth notes, whatever you want to do. And the kick drum kind of gives your beat a little bit more meat or body to it. It's kind of what makes you want to move. So if I'm going to hit my bass drum on every single beat of the measure, it would sound like this. Kind of makes you want to move. I don't know. The bass drum is really like in all the pop songs, it's really what is just like the driving force behind the song. And your snare drum is really the accent of all your beats and of a song for the most part. The snare drum is really like the second loudest thing that you'll hear in a song. So, and it really kind of brings everything together. If I'm playing a beat with just the hi-hat and the bass like this, it really starts to come together when I add in the snare. So, and the toms are often used for beats like I showed you earlier. You can play it on the floor tom or even on the rack tom if you wanted to. But oftentimes they're used in what's called a drum fill. And a drum fill is like almost like a mini drum solo, if you will. And a drum fill is often only played for one measure. I'll give you an example. Oftentimes, your drum fills are totally improv'd. They're just like off the top of your head, not even thinking. Sometimes with the complex things, you can plan out your fills that way because sometimes you just can't be that creative. I really hope that this lesson has given you a lot more insight on how to play the drums and that you can now get started on playing your own drums. If you have any questions or comments, please leave them in the comments section below. Thanks so much, guys. I'll talk to you later.